Fresh off of Thursday Night Football, concluding after the longest game of all time, we are here with another edition of the NY Sports Index. That is Jaime Eisner. I am Chris Schubert here with you to talk all things New York sports. 1-0
I
for
feel
the
like,
model.
hold on, Chris, timeout. I'm just going to call it timeout like right away here. It feels like we're the good and evil right now. I've got I'm broadcasting with the white background, the light, and you just have all dark. It's like it's like the good and evil podcast.
Have I showed you what is supposed to go up behind me for future episodes?
You have not.
I have it nearby, so I can do this, and we have a bad track record on this podcast of anytime any of us moves, things break, but I think we're going to be okay here.
Yeah, I literally watch my my light
Pre-show
collapse upon all my stuff.
So I have this MetLife Stadium poster that's going up.
Okay.
And then
Home of the
there's
Giants.
another one. Another one. Citi Field.
Not home of the Giants.
Oh, not home of the Yankees either. Yeah, so I got those going up. At some point, they're going to go on the wall behind me. I have to do some.
You know what?
I'm not good at crafts. So
no, I'm gonna have to do something too. So you can't really see it much. Well, I'm gonna try to do this here, but
okay, this shit.
There's nothing in here yet, but this is a display case
for a jersey. We can put a jersey in that.
No, what's going in here are all my sports cards, my top of the line graded cards, and there's shelves.
Oh, that'll be good. That'll be good. That'll be good future content for the pod. That'll be good. As you can tell, we are punch drunk off of the Thursday Night Football game, taking because forever to play.
There was someone saw a flash of lightning 70 miles away from the stadium.
No, so it was closer than that. In the broadcast, you could see it in a nearby neighborhood. I understood.
Nearby neighborhood. I get it, I guess, whatever. But more importantly, it added an hour plus to this game, and I think the disappointing part is it was a damn good football game. I feel like it lost all the momentum after the lightning delay.
First half was good. Second half kind of lost its luster, and then with 4 minutes to go in the third, when they had the lightning delay, that kind of took everything out of the game. This is not a podcast about the Philadelphia Eagles or the Dallas Cowboys, but Thursday Night Football obviously important for the New York Giants, and so we'll make this the opening bell here on this edition of the show to start your Friday and to start your weekend. Jimmy, I don't know if I feel any differently about where the Giants stand in the NFC East. I'm not sure if I feel any differently about how I think the Giants stack up against Dallas. I certainly thought Dallas was more impressive than I was anticipating, but they didn't overwhelm me with their play in the second half, because it felt like they came out with this big emotional dump in the first half on the road in Philly, all the Micah Parsons noise. They handled themselves well. But then when the game got close, it got tight in the third, fourth quarter. It just felt like they got back to being old school Dallas, where they just always kind of not thrive in those moments.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. And, after about a quarter and a half of this game, everybody was talking about, look how great Dallas looks. The Eagles, they're in trouble, blah, blah, blah. A.J. Brown's got no targets, all that other fun stuff. From the perspective that we're going to talk about this on the show, the Cowboys play the New York Giants next, and I believe that's in Dallas. So
yes, it is. Dallas home opener.
The question is, do I feel any worse about the Giants' chances in that game than I did coming in? Maybe a little, but I still think Dallas is a fundamentally flawed team. I think you saw it in this game where I know Javonte Williams gets 2 touchdowns, but that kind of holds up to the fact, or I should say, overcomes the fact that he was actually extremely inefficient on the ground. They do get a fumble in this game from Miles Sanders. We'll see if Jaden Blue, the rookie, ends up suiting up in week 2. Again, they got off to a hot start. I like some of the things that Brian Schottenheimer cooked up in this first game. We saw a little bit more variety in the play calling, a little bit more bunch sets for the Dallas Cowboys in this game than we saw at times last year. But it was a good start. I still feel like I have a lot of concerns. And the question is going to be what do I feel about this Dallas secondary? Because really the Eagles didn't try at all to beat the Cowboys downfield. A.J. Brown gets 1 target, 1 catch late in the fourth quarter. Saquon Barkley, by the way, those of you that listen to our
I told you, 1-0 on the model bets.
Ding, 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 1-0 start to that model bet. And he goes over, but
I'm the bad co-host that didn't take the model
you didn't bet it. That's all right. I'll only hate you forever. But you saw a lot of short stuff to Saquon Barkley, either behind the line of scrimmage or within a few yards of the line of scrimmage. Short stuff to Devontae Smith. A lot of early short stuff to Dallas Goedert as well. As another guy I told you that might have a decent game, in terms of hitting his total. He did hit his over as well, for those of you that bet on that. It was they just didn't go downfield much at all. Jalen Hurts really dominated this game with his legs. And what I say by that is to look at the Giants' side of things and go, what are they going to do? Do they stretch the field more with Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slayton? Can they throw more underneath with Wan'Dale Robinson? How many, the 10 to 12 targets you're going to get from Malik Neighbors? Theo Johnson's healthy and active. So the question for me is going to be I still have concerns about the combination of Diggs, Bland, and Kyer Elam, and I'm just not sure that we really got any answers one way or the other. I think if you look at the box score, you're probably feeling like, oh wow, look at what the secondary did. AJ Brown was held in check. Devonta Smith was held in check. Obviously, they gave up that deep play down the field to Jahan Dotson, but I don't really think that aside from that one Jahan Dotson play, that post down the middle of the field, that they really tried to go against this Dallas. So I don't really know if that Dallas secondary stopped the Eagles or the Eagles just kind of stopped themselves with their game plan.
Can I tell you what I felt watching most of this Eagles offense tonight?
Yeah.
That's what I want the Jets to do. That's what I want the Jets offense to look like. Like, run the football with your quarterback. I mean, obviously, Breece Hall's not Saquon Barkley, but give it to Breece. Get the ball in space to your playmakers. Take a deep shot, but really kind of keep it simple, stupid. Like, that's the model. I know I said Baltimore was the model earlier this week, but you saw it tonight. Like, you can play that way. Now, you don't have the guys up front to be able to do the tush push. You don't have the guys up front to create these big, wide holes like Saquon Barkley gets. But I think you can be something similar to that.
Yeah, but also if you watch that game, the tush push was mostly a non-factor in that game. Like, it was used a couple different times. I know they got a couple first downs with it, but it wasn't a difference maker in that game, in my opinion, in the overall scheme of things. And by the way, we talked about the rushing. Javonte Williams finishes with those 2 touchdowns, which, you go, oh, wow. But 15 carries for 54 yards.
Fantasy
that's 3.6 yards per carry.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, that is without the Eagles' best defensive lineman on the field because of all that pregame stuff. We're not going to talk about it because I don't care.
I'm not getting into Spitgate. I'm not getting into it.
Yeah, and we saw after the lightning delay, there's a Zapruder film, as you put it, about Dak Prescott where he might have spit in relate.
No. It's not might have. He definitely spit.
No, not that he might have spit. I meant where he might have spit. Was it near Jalen Carter? Was
we needed a different
feet
angle
of Jalen Carter? Was
right.
it?
We didn't have a wide shot to be able to tell us whether or
back
not
and to the left.
The way we were breaking down who spit first and where the spit landed is not
football season, baby.
Only the NFL. Like, only the NFL
Welcome
can
back.
do something like that. Like, it's absolutely insane.
So
we're gonna
to put a bow on this, I don't necessarily. While it was, I will give kudos to the Cowboys for coming out ready to play, and they showed up to this game.
But better than I expected.
I'm not sure I'm ready to feel like I like them a lot more than I did yesterday at this time. I want to see a little bit more. Now they're going to have a little bit extra time here before the Giants game. They're going to get a few extra days off, but I do think the Giants are going to challenge the Cowboys in some different ways than they were challenged in this game by the Eagles.
You have described it on the show prep rundown as the New York potpourri.
Yes.
Do you want the hockey story or do you want the baseball story?
I mean, you tell me, Mr. Met. Where do you want to start?
I mean, these are both me, right?
They are both you.
You put
these
on
Mets
the
and
doc.
Islanders related.
These are both me.
Let's start with the Mets one. Let's talk about because we've talked about it a lot. I just wanted to mention, Sproat's coming up.
Yeah,
Sproat time. The Sproat go.
Yeah, he's making his debut on Sunday. And if you are just a regular diehard baseball fan, Sproat against Hunter Green is a fun little matchup on Sunday between the Mets.
Sucks
and the
it's a Sunday
Reds.
though.
It does suck.
My attention is going to be elsewhere.
There will be a multi-screen experience for me on Sunday, certainly, with Sproat making his debut. And look, I've been saying it all week on the show, but it just further reinforces, like, the Mets are in a position right now where they're admitting to you in their actions and in their words that they don't trust Kodai Senga, they don't trust Sean Manaea, they don't trust Clay Holmes to win them a championship, and they would rather give these guys a chance, that they actually think they have a better chance of winning a championship with Sproat, McLean, and Tong starting for them in the postseason than they do with those other 3 guys. I need to rant about this. I ranted. I have a separate Mets pod that I do, and I ranted on this there, but I need to rant again about it because it's just absolutely insane that I saw this tweet today. Hembo, who's producer over at ESPN for Get Up, he does a Baseball Tonight podcast with Buster Olney, and he suggested the Mets piggyback their 6 starters for the postseason. And in game 1, They go Nolan McClain and David Peterson. All right, Nolan McClain starting game 1. I can get on board with that. I think that's what they should do. David Peterson did it last year. Was the closer for the team in that last game in Milwaukee. Sure, that's fine. Game 2 had Jonah Tong, and who did he have? And Clay Holmes was behind him in that game. Okay, I can understand that as well. Clay Holmes in a shorter role, coming out of the bullpen where he's more comfortable. Jonah Tong being a starter. Game 3. So there's a world where this is an elimination game. This is a world where game 3, especially if you're in the first round.
Well, I mean, if it's a first round game, it's an elimination game. There's no way around it.
We're looking at game 3 being an elimination game, like you were in Milwaukee last year.
Yeah.
Hembo suggested Kodai Senga start, Sean Manaea come out of the pen. Just tell me you haven't been watching Mets baseball without telling me you haven't been watching Mets baseball.
I mean, look, if the Mets are going to need to score 11.
They have to win that game 11-10.
if they do that right now, they have to score 11.
Kodai Senga is not going to be on the playoff roster.
Well, and that's part of the issue with you have to be cognizant of it going 3 games, even though you really hope you can just win in 2. Because you can't. I understand like the logic of doing those first 2 matchups make a lot of sense. The problem is you're completely tapped out for a win or go home game if you don't win those first 2. Like I don't see that being the case. I think you have to make the choice of one of those guys. Peterson or Holmes has to be the game 3 guy, assuming you start the 2 youngsters.
I would assume right now McClain would be the game 1 starter. Whichever of the young guys between Tong and Sproat looks better the rest of the season will start 2, and Petey would start at game 3. That would be the way I think Carlos Mendoza would set it up and the way the Mets would set it up. But there's also a world where they don't get to set it up if they don't handle their business accordingly. And that's why the series with the Reds coming up over the weekend is so important, because them and the Giants are the teams that are chasing you down. The quicker you can get your magic number wrapped up and you can guarantee yourself a playoff spot, you can then start not really caring about where you're going to play and start worrying about setting up your rotation the way that you want to set it up.
As we talked about in the pre-show, you have the big Kodai Senga question too.
Right. I think he's going to get sent down probably by the time you hear this pod. We're, again, recording this moments after Thursday Night Football is over. This will be in your inboxes Friday morning. There's a world where by the time you're listening to this, Kodai Senga has accepted an assignment to the minor leagues and is back in Syracuse. I mean, that's on the table.
It's also a world where he doesn't.
And if he doesn't, then he's going to be removed from the rotation. The fans are going to treat him like public enemy number 1. And listen, it's in his contract. He has an ability to refuse it. I'm not going to hold that against him, but I'm not going to be surprised when the fan reaction is to boo him in whatever role he's in when he comes out, if he stops them. Now, they've announced Sproat as the starter on Sunday, so I don't think they're going to undo that if Kodai Senga doesn't. And to me, the fact that news got out there makes me think that Senga is okay with accepting an assignment, and we'll learn that here on Friday. But who knows? I mean, that would just be a whole other can of worms. But since Steve Cohen's gotten there and David Stern's gotten there, they've been really buttoned up. They haven't really metsed it in a big way like this. So I feel like they know what they're doing, and I feel like they got
never know. Maybe Steve Cohen went to him and said, "Hey, I got this tree plant business that I can sponsor you for if you go down to the minors."
$28 million, $7 million.
$28 million. You don't even have to post about it.
You don't have to do anything.
We plant trees.
We just plant trees.
Hypothetically, of course, nobody would do that.
So Brandon Sproat making his debut. The fun, exciting thing for me, Jamie, is depending on where you look, I look at Fangraphs and their prospect rankings, and I kind of use them as my guide. They have Sproat as the number 1 prospect in the system, over McClain, over Tong. Like, they have Brandon Sproat as the better pitching prospect and the best prospect in the system overall for the Mets. So it is exciting that there's a world where the Mets debut 2 young starters that generated all this buzz and excitement, and certainly I've been excited watching them play. But this is the guy that could be better than those 2 guys. Right, and so that's the fun part. 6-pitch pitcher, 4-seam sinker, curveball, changeup, sweeper, slider. I mean, just has it all in the arsenal, has it all in the toolbox, relies on the ground balls, throws that fastball 96, 97. His last start in AAA, 7 scoreless innings. So he's been pitching great, and he's going to try to save the Mets season. I know everyone's like, oh, these kids don't have to be the superheroes. They don't have to save this. No, they do now. Like
they kind of do.
Right. You're admitting to everybody that these 3 guys are going to have to save the season.
Yes. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum on the show. That's why I thought we needed to talk about it. Even though it's going to be a football-heavy show, we're going to preview the Jets and Giants, all that stuff. But, like, he's coming up, and I venture to say this will not be the most important game he starts in for the Mets this season.
No, absolutely not. Can we talk about my first-round pick?
We can.
You brought this
first round.
First overall. 1-1.
First overall.
Matthew
Number
Schaefer.
1.
Where did you pull this quote from? Because I only saw this quote when you put it on the rundown today.
Yeah, so he did an interview, and I want to credit this properly.
Yes, of course.
He did an interview, because I got it off NHL.com. I just want to make sure that it was the NHL that actually did it, and it is Adam Kimmelman,
Okay.
who's been there since I was covering hockey. He is the managing editor over there at NHL.com. But he got this quote as, again, we're inching very close to hockey season. And for those of you that play the video game, it's out 1 p.m. or I think noon Eastern of the day you're listening to this. The new NHL game. Like everything's happening now. Like, welcome to September. But the quote was from Matthew Schaefer. It says, quote, "You don't just get stuff given to you, right? You've got to earn it. You've got to earn your spot. I mean, I still have to earn my spot on the team, and that's what I'm going to camp to do. Still a lot of hard work." So, one, good attitude. Obviously,
the right attitude.
100%.
100%.
But two, I wanted to ask you what if you had to put a percentage, because we have it is common for NHL number 1 overall picks to start right away, and I believe the last couple guys that the Islanders took with their with the very, very top pick when they've had it debuted instantly with the team. It's a little bit harder for defensemen.
Yes.
It's obviously the hardest for goalies, but it's a little bit harder for defensemen to crack the lineup than it is a forward. I think if you're going to rank the difficulty out of college, goalies doesn't happen. Defensemen, centers, wingers in the difficulty from most difficult to least difficult in terms of being able to make that transition right away.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a defenseman, you're responsible for a lot. Center, you have to win faceoffs, and you have a lot of defensive responsibilities, and so that's what kind of scales it up to where you have to really be able to hit the ground running if you're gonna start right away.
So my question to you, Chris, as the resident Islanders fan, is what if you want to put a percentage on it? What percentage chance do you think he opens the season with the team? And two, do you think he opens as anything other than, because right now, I think most project him to be the third pair on the third pairing.
Yeah, that's really the spot.
Is that where you think he's going to be?
Well,
and what percentage chance do you think he opens with the club? Because I don't think he's going to open and be the 7th defenseman. Like, what's the point?
Let's just do a math equation, right?
Okay.
You've got Pulock making $6.1 million, right?
Yeah.
You're not right. Just from sheer salary perspective, your top line defensemen are making 5.7 and 6.1. Those guys are locked in. Romanov's making 6.25, not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Year 1 of an 8-year contract extension, pinned in right there, right? Then you start to get to Bovquist at 850,000, D'Angelo at 1.7. Like, okay, now those are players that if you wanted to say, hey, I want to play the youngster, your opportunity cost isn't large. But the problem is you've got a lot of money tied up to your defenseman. And so I just live in this world where I think it's going to take him a little bit. And I think they're probably going to keep, to your point, they're not going to have him be the 7th defenseman and not get regular playing time. I think they would rather have him down in the A and playing and getting regular reps. And then if an injury or an underperformance to start the year can draw him into one of those 6 spots, they'll do it. But he'll get an opportunity to maybe be the 5th or 6th defenseman and be on that third pairing. Now, I love this.
Go ahead.
The only thing I wanted to add is I love this pick because this team has been in transition over the last couple of years, and you've got to build up the middle. And I feel really good about where they're at center-wise with Horvat and Barzal. And I love where they're at goalie-wise with Sorokin. It's just the defense that I think needs to be strengthened. And so taking this player 1-1, I think is great for building through the middle and setting yourself up for some success here. But this is kind of a slow burn, right? Just because you took the guy 1-1, this isn't the NFL. This isn't, the NBA where the guy's got to play right away. Like, take it slow. And with the way your defense is kind of currently set up, I think there's a world where he starts in the minors.
So I am a big proponent, and I have been. And for those of you that don't know, I got my start in this profession.
You're the hockey guy of the two of us. You are certainly the hockey guy.
I got my start in the profession covering hockey for the rest in peace Arizona Coyotes. 5 years, credentialed media member, locker room practices, games, all that fun stuff.
I'm going to use one. Were you ever a credentialed media member when they were the Phoenix Coyotes?
No. I was in attendance, but no, I did not. I did not get. I was not old enough, technically.
Were you there? Were you covering the team when Wayne Gretzky was?
No, I missed the Gretzky. I was watching the team, but I covered the team from the Dave Tippett era on.
There's just so many scandals that it's hard to just kind of put an error behind it. So that's why
stories for days. But obviously, this is a New York podcast. But I'm a big believer in the left, right, left, right, left, right defensive pairing.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe that there's an inherent defensive advantage to having a left-handed defenseman play on the left side, a right-handed defenseman play on the right side, because then you're able to use your body to, if you think about it, like, it's the most simplest effect. You're able to use your body to shield the goaltender and still have full range with your stick to the outside and in front of you. I know a lot of teams they'll put the best 6 guys out there that they want to put out there. But I do believe there is an inherent advantage. Why I say that
is
Schaefer's a left-handed. He's a left-hander. And right now, the only other left-handers that are probably locks to make the team on the blue line are Pelech and Romanov.
Yep.
So if you're going to look for a potential shot for somebody to be that third line left defenseman, and whether that's to play with, Mayfield or Boquist or again, sometimes you pair defensive, like Dave Tippett used to do this a lot, where he would pair guys with each other and not be as worried about first pair defenseman, second pair defenseman, third pair defenseman. He would be more concerned about pairing the 2 individuals that he thought played off each other the best together, and then put them in those advantageous situations throughout the game. So that is going to be his best opportunity to crack the roster right away, is the fact that I think he can provide that value as a true left-handed defenseman, where they kind of lack on that team right now. So do they have to do it right away? No. Is there an expectation from Islanders fans that they probably see him right away? I kind of think so. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, not just number 1 pick, but you're the hometown kid. So I think you put a lot of those things together.
Overall, I think the fan base is just looking for excitement in general. The last couple of years have not been great. Again, team in transition, new general manager in town, new person overseeing things. And so there is some buzz and excitement. And I think fans like myself are hoping to see that excitement continue into the start of the year. So you asked me to put a percentage on it, and I'm just not comfortable with putting a percentage on it, because I just don't know how this organization with the shakeup in the front office feels about this. I kind of want to see how they feel about it, right? I kind of want to, this is kind of a good first case study in how they're going to handle situations like this. And we kind of have to learn by how they choose to handle it. All right. You know what you're here for. You're here for the football. Giants, Commanders, Jets, Steelers, our preview of both of these matchups. We'll start with the NFC clash, pair of NFC East teams doing battle, the Giants and the Commanders. The Giants tend to play the Commanders close. I can remember a tie on, Thursday Night Football between these two sides recently in recent memory. A lot of excitement around the Commanders coming off of their NFC Championship appearance last year. Don't know how much excitement there is about the current Giants product. I think there's a lot of excitement about Jackson Dart getting on the field at some point this season. But, Jamie, a good start for the Giants could do a lot for Brian Daboll's future here in New York. So all the games count the same for him. All the games count the same for Joe Shane. How are you looking at this matchup for the Giants starting this campaign? It is Russ under center. There is some excitement on defense with what they can provide. I'll let you kick us off here.
Well, yeah, and at first, to prove your point, I mean, the Giants lost both games last year to the Commanders, but they lost by 5, and then they lost by 3. Before that, they were 3-0-1 in their previous 4, that overtime game back in December of 2022. But then these have been really close games. I'm looking at this right now, just kind of going back in history here. So Giants lose by 5, lose by 3, win by 12, win by 7, win by 8, tie. Like, it's been, as to your point, very close. This game is going to be really interesting to me because I'm going to have I feel like a good understanding of what Russell Wilson is going to have left in the tank when I watch him with my own 2 eyes in this sort of environment. The Commanders have some pieces that you really like, but they also can, I think they might be a little bit, just a skosh, overrated coming into the year. I think everything went as well as humanly possible for them last year, and I'm not quite sure how everything is going to go this year. Now, I say that to say that the Commanders are, on paper, a better football team right now than the New York Giants. That's not what I'm arguing. But what I want to see here is there anything left in Marshawn Lattimore on that side? When he came that trade over to Washington last year, he was very bad.
Yeah.
Very bad. On the other side right now, they're going to be playing second-round rookie Trey Amos as a starter. I think their slot corners are one of the best in football, and Mikey Sainer still. But their two outside corners, I think, are question marks. And as we talked about what we might see from the Giants going up against Dallas next week, what I want to see from them this week is, can they push the ball down the field? Can this team be more vertical than they've been in years past? And we know Russell Wilson isn't afraid to throw the deep ball. Look, the Chris Collinsworth coined the moon ball, right, in prime time today. So now you have to hear that all the time.
He was in rare form tonight, just absolute rare form on this broadcast. So was Tirico. He called Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott like 400 times on one drive.
It is odd. So, but hey, look, it's the first game of the year for them too. But to me, I think the big key that I'm looking for in this scenario is, do they try to push the ball down the field more than they did last year? Because that will open up things for them in the running game. That'll open up things for them in the short area of the field. And I think they've got the pieces to threaten down the field, to open up the middle of the field for Malik Neighbors, where they can really let him be that high target volume player. And I think if they're going to win that game, it's going to be attacking the outside corners of the Commanders. And then on the defensive side, I mean, look, I'm excited for this defensive front. I think this is one of the best defensive fronts in football. You got Lawrence, and you've got Thibodeau, and you've got Burns, and you've got Carter, and I like what you even have on the second level with McFadden, and it's just like, so you have some really good pieces. I know we talked about some question marks that they might have in the secondary at times, but particularly when you get to the depth portion of that secondary. But I really like that front seven. I really like their ability to get to the quarterback. This is a big test. The Commanders traded for a top tackle. They have a quarterback that is obviously known for his mobility, and it's not only his mobility, but his ability to throw the ball accurately and on time while on the move. This is a major first test for the team. So for me, obviously you want to win. You want to start 1-0. But for me, the key is going to be is that front seven as good as I think they're going to be? And two, what does Russell Wilson have left in the tank? Because this is going to kind of be the story of the season. Even more so than the win-loss record is going to be what's going on at the quarterback situation. And does Russell Wilson show that he can hold down the reins for a month, 2 months? Does he have a piece to keep the Giants in winnable games? Or are we going to sit back and we're going to watch and we're going to go, ooh, they can't get to Jackson Dart quick enough?
Yeah, and I think just from an outside observer's perspective, I think the best thing that could happen for everybody involved is that Russ plays well enough to push that conversation to the back burner for as long as possible. Not because I don't think Jackson Dart is the future. I do. I like Jackson Dart a lot. But the more time he can have to sit and just watch and get those reps with the twos during the week and just learn, I think it's going to be beneficial for him. I just think that time is going to do wonders for him when he ultimately gets drawn in. And the way that you make this conversation a non-starter is if Russ plays well. The first time Russ is a game where he throws for 175 yards, doesn't throw a touchdown, and throws for 3 picks, it's going to be the first question out of any reporter's mouth to Brian Daboll after the game, and we know exactly how Brian Daboll is going to deal with that. He's not going to deal with it with calm poise, right? It's just not who Brian Daboll is. He's going to be frustrated by that question. Well, you have to kind of set Russ up for success. And so to me, you mentioned wanting to see what Russ is able to do. To me, it's everything else. This Washington team was very bad against the run last year. I pulled the numbers while you were talking. They were 31st in yards per rush. They gave up 5 yards per carry last year when teams ran against them. They gave up 143.4 yards, second worst in the league. So you can attack this team running the football. They were bad at it last year. And so if you can do that, you can limit the amount of times you're going to ask Russ to throw the ball, and you're going to limit the amount of times you're going to ask him to take over a game. And I think that's beneficial for what the Giants want to do. Although Daboll likes to throw the ball, likes to have a more open offense. So he's going to have to find that internal balance. He's going to have to look within and just look at these numbers and say, okay, this team was bad against the run last year. I got to test them early. I got to see if they fix this, right? And then make the adjustments for there, because they were great against the pass last season. Excellent against the pass. 6th in completion percentage, 2nd in passes per game, 5th in pass yards per game. They were great against the pass because teams just ran on them because they couldn't stop the run.
Yeah.
Can the Giants establish the run early? Because again, I think that puts them in a game script that they're going to like and is going to allow them. Spread is 6. right now as we're doing this pod to keep this game close and to keep it within the spread.
Yeah, and we didn't really get to see a chance for the Giants to run on them a ton in their first two games against them. I think Tyron Tracy, when he actually got the start in that second game, 16 carries for 66 yards. In the first game, I believe it was Singletary that was still leading the charge. It was. He had 16 carries for 95 yards in that game. So we will see. Like I said, the numbers in this case that you brought up there, I do think you described them well in the sense of I don't necessarily think Washington's pass defense is as elite as those numbers indicate, as much as it's a damning stat against their ability to stop the run. And so we'll see what ends up happening in this game. But to me, it's just like I believe in Tyrone Tracy as a lead back. I like Scatterboo. I obviously that could be a key to them winning the game. I'm not trying to poo-poo that. But with a bigger picture in mind, I need to see what Russ is going to have. Like, I just need to know, like, if this oh boy, like they need a quick hook sometime in September, or can I exhale a little bit and be like, okay, we don't have to rush Jackson Dart in.
First it was the potpourri, now it's poo-pooing. We got a lot going on here on the show here tonight.
We do.
You want to give a score prediction for these games? I think that'll be a fun little wrinkle to all of this. I know I'm putting you on the spot because you were not prepared for that. I put
me on the spot for that.
I wrote mine down. You want me to? I can share mine.
You do yours first while I contemplate.
Well, just don't steal my score. That's all I ask. I think the Giants are going to be more respectable in this game than people anticipate. I think there are many people out there that are hammering the Commanders -6, thinking that the Commanders are going to win this game by 3 scores and they're going to be up, 28-0 going into the fourth quarter because Russ is washed and Dable's a bad coach and it's time to hand things over to Jackson Dart and Jaden's just going to be running around making plays all over the place.
Yeah.
I just think people just assume that the Commanders are going to pick up right where they left off at the end of the NFC Championship game, being a solid football team, not realizing that they had some breaks go their way. They have an old roster going into this year. They did have some holes on their team despite making it to the NFC title game, and I'm not sure if all of those areas have been addressed. So I think the Giants keep it close. I do think the Commanders cover, but I think when it's all said and done, we look at the Commanders 27, Giants 17.
Okay. I have 24-20.
Okay, the Giants get into the magic 20 number.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a lower scoring game than people think. I think the total right now is like 45.5. If I looked at it, and I had
it at 44.
So yeah, we both kind of have it at 44, just in slightly different ways. I don't think this is going to necessarily be a high scoring game. I do think again these two teams play each other really close. It is tough, as we just saw. It is tough to blow out divisional opponents. It just is. You see each other so much. You have so many of the same players. The coaching staffs are the same from last year to this year, so there's not going to be a lot of secrets. I do think in the end that the Commanders still have the X factor that the Giants don't have, and that's Jaden Daniels, and I think he's going to be able to do enough to win this game. But I do think the Giants are going to be competitive, and I do think this game's going to be in doubt late. But I do think they're going to come up just a little bit short.
Yeah, I can see a world where this is, 20-17 Commanders late, and with 7 minutes to go, they go on that drive that they put in the touchdown to put the icing on top of the cake and cement the victory. I don't think the Commanders are going to run away with this one, despite picking them to win by 10. I think this game's going to be competitive.
The other factor is how one-dimensional are they going to be? I know everybody talks the talk of of Twitter. For all offseason's been, Bill Krosky merit. But if I told you right now, a running back room of Austin Eckler, Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols, Bill Krosky, like, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, does it? Like, that doesn't.
I'm
that
not
doesn't
shaking
scream,
in my boots.
Yeah, it doesn't scream a team that you're afraid is going to run the football down your throat. So that, I think, is also why this game might be a little bit more close than it otherwise would have been. And again, not that Brian Robinson Jr. was an all-world running back by any means, but he was a little bit more established in his game than some of these other guys are. And we'll kind of see how Cliff Kingsbury and company use everybody. We'll see how much is Deebo Samuel used in this game out of the backfield in a running capacity. But I just still think there are some holes on this Commanders team that did not get exposed last year, that as you tend to see with these young teams, nonlinear progression, just because you had a really good run does not necessarily mean it's always onward and upward. Sometimes there's some bumps in the road, and I think they're going to have a little bit of a tougher time trying to repeat what they did last year, even just in terms of record. I'm not even talking about going to the NFC Championship game. I'm just talking about in terms of even their record. Like, I don't think they're like a playoff lock by any means. They're going to have to fight for it.
I mean, I know we have short-term memory now in this world of ever-ending content, and so it's hard to remember things past 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But isn't this exactly what happened to C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans from year 1 to year 2? I mean,
Yeah.
just exactly what happened. They overachieved in many people's minds in year 1, and then they took that small step backwards, and people expect them now to reach back up and get back to where they were for C.J. Stroud's rookie season. It was in the middle of you doing your score prediction, and I don't know why it took me up until Friday to remember this. I'm gonna have to go quad box. I'm gonna have to have Jets Steelers, Giants Commanders, Brandon Sproat debut, red zone. So I'm gonna have inside my own quad box an octo box.
You enjoy
and
the
inside
new
that
enjoy the new commercials that come
and
along
inside
with
that
it?
octo box there's gonna be commercials. 4 of them over the course of my entire day.
What's the split? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's an 8-4 split.
You know how I feel about an 8-4 split. You know my thoughts.
I still feel, not to get off on a tangent.
No, let's do it. This is what the show's for, man. It's a Friday show. Do whatever you want.
No, it just is like at some point I do not know why there are not more 4 p.m. Eastern start time games. I do not know why there's not a closer split. I understand you want teams to play at that 1 p.m. Eastern spot, and I'm not saying it has to be unbalanced the other way. But as we get later in the season, you see 7-3 splits.
Oh, it is.
And then you start to add games. We start to do the stuff where you added games on Saturday and Friday. You see sometimes an afternoon split with 2. Why? Move some games.
Scott Hansen doesn't know what to do to himself because he's going back and forth between 2 games, and then they're both a commercial. And then I got to see highlights from games that I saw. Trust me, I watched that Jameer Gibbs touchdown 400 times. I had him in a parlay
3 hours ago.
Right, I saw it. Okay,
Yeah.
he was part of the touchdown parlay. By the way, are we doing that as part of the show thing this year? Our touchdown parlay? We haven't discussed this.
We
at
might
all.
so. By the way, I've already looked at week 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3 split. Already.
Week. Well, you know why that is.
You're telling me.
You know why that is, though.
You're telling me why.
Look on Monday night.
Yeah, that's great. But I know they have 2 Monday night. By the way, the 2 Monday night stuff sucks.
Well, but that's what you lose a game now. I've lost the game.
But Chris.
Okay.
There are games in the 1 p.m. Eastern window that are being played in Dallas, Texas, in New Orleans, Louisiana.
You don't have to convince me of this. I'm with you. Make an even split for the 1 and the 4 p.m. slates. I agree.
Why can't you put the team that is playing Giants Cowboys? Why can't that be a 4 o'clock game?
Yeah. Why can't that be a 4:25?
49ers Saints, even Rams Titans. With all due respect to Nashville, which I believe is also technically that part of Tennessee, I believe is still on Eastern time. But why?
Well, we got commercials before we got an even split with Red Zone. So I'm gonna have the quad box on Sunday. That's what I've decided. So we just to let the listeners in on a little bit of behind the scenes. We have the model bets, obviously, and we're gonna put out because Jamie runs the model stuff over the weekend when the props actually drop. So we'll put that out as a social thing. So just check out the NY Sports Index social accounts for all of that. But we also tend to have a for fun, and we do wager on it, but it's not like model based. We have the touchdown parlay where Jamie and I individually will send each other without knowing what the other person has selected 8 names for a anytime touchdown parlay. And if we both have a name, it automatically it gets put into the parlay. And then if however many spots we need to fill, because there's normally either 4 or 5 guys, we then cross-reference each other's lists, and I usually take one from his list, he takes one from my list, and we build out this parlay.
And then
we haven't hit it yet.
And then they never hit. So these are not model bets. I want to be very clear. This is a for fun moonshot type of parlay. Yes. It's not like the model bets, which are already again off to a 1-0 start to the season. And
Shout out to the model.
At some point this weekend, check out. I don't know how we're going to do it yet. We might do a YouTube short that we put up some places
because I was hedging.
Yeah, we might put it up on social. I don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but we will have the bets up sometime this weekend. I will work on them on Friday and Fridays going forward for those of you that want to follow along.
Jets, Steelers, Aaron Rodgers' revenge game, Aaron Glenn's NFL debut as a head coach, Justin Fields' first game as a New York Jet quarterback, the Justin Fields revenge game, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson's first games as newly paid men at the top of their position. I don't know what other narratives I can bring out there. The first game without Elijah Vera Tucker for the 2025 season for the New York Jets. All of the narratives for this game.
Yeah, and by the way, we learned yesterday on Thursday That I could say yesterday now, because as I'm recording, it's hit midnight my time.
Yeah,
so
it's not that for me yet.
We could say yesterday, we did find out that it is season-ending surgery for Elijah Vera Tucker. So it is
on the other arm too. Was the other
Yeah.
arm? He's now got this injury on both arms, and apparently was during like a very like easy part of practice.
Yeah, individual drills. They said it
Yeah.
wasn't even like team drill. I don't know, but that's obviously a brutal blow to this team.
Gutted.
To me, it's the alarm bells for me, and I've said it before, and I won't go into it as much because we talked about it a lot before. The alarm bells to me is T.J. Watt and Justin Fields. That's the alarm bell. That's the how can this go terribly wrong, and that is strip sacks. That's what scares me. So that's the matchup that I'm going to watch. Also, again, as those of you know, I'm COO of the Draft Network. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Armand Membu, who I followed very closely. I got a chance to see him well before even last season at Brute OL training camp. I got to see him up close and personal up in Minneapolis. Turned into a first-round pick, had a great season, and is going to be relied on heavily for the Jets this season. So to me, I want to see this line, Vera Tucker or not, which is clearly it's going to be or not. There are questions I want to see along this offensive line, and quite frankly, I just want to see how run heavy they're going to be.
Well, Dan Graziano broke the news. He broke the news earlier today that they're going to have a run-heavy offense.
Really? I know we've talked about it a lot. You're probably sick of hearing me say it, but like, I want to see if they're going to be as run heavy as I think they are. And I'm talking about Eagles run heavy, Ravens run heavy. How much do they have for Justin Field? How much is designed? How much is scrambled? Like, I really want to see if you and I are in lockstep with the way this coaching staff is thinking. And I think obviously there are trends and things will change throughout the season, but I kind of want to see, especially early on when the game is in doubt, which is always in doubt when it starts, what are they trying to do? That to me is going to be the key is, are we really going to be that ground and pound, shorten the game, shorten the number of possessions we allow? And can the Jets offense do enough to stop the giant pass rush that's on the other side at times, including TJ Watt? And if they do, they got a shot here. I'm not excited about the Steelers.
The spread's only 2.5.
About the Steelers.
Steelers are only 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Let's be fair. Nobody's excited about the Steelers. Fans aren't excited about the Steelers.
It's actually up to 3 now. But
so
looking at the Eagles last night, Jalen Hurts threw the ball.
Did you see the total
for the Steelers game? No,
yeah.
The Steelers Jets game. What is it? 12 points?
It's like 37.5.
Oh, I have a rule. If the total's under 40, you have to bet it on. You have to bet the over on principle. It hasn't always worked out for me, but I have that rule.
37.5.
The Eagles tonight. Where are you looking? DraftKings has it at 38.5.
I was just looking at the. Do you have it at 38.5 on DraftKings?
You shopped around and got a better number than I did.
I mean, I didn't bet on it. Let me see. I was just looking at the scoring apps that I use, and
DraftKings has 38.5. But that's just the book that I have open. I haven't shopped
37.5 on FanDuel. So
okay, so FanDuel has a better number.
And there's still a 2.5, by the way, as well. But still, the overall point. What's the Jet? By the way, the team totals in this game. The Steelers are over under 20.5, and the Jets right now are over under 17.5. So not a lot of exciting, not a lot of offense expected in this game.
My score prediction has the under for both. The Eagles tonight in a close game. A back-and-forth game with the Dallas Cowboys, threw the ball 23 times, and they ran the ball 38 times. I want to see if the Jets put up those type of numbers. Is that the spread? Is that what the Jets try to do? Because I do think this game is going to be close. And so in a close game, do they try to, the other phrase that was used today was play keep away with the football on offense. Is that what they try to do? And do they do it to the extreme that I think all of us assume with the way that they're talking and the way that they've built this team and they built the personnel? Do they commit to that in that fashion? Thing number 2 that I'm paying attention to, and it's kind of an extension on what you're talking about with TJ Watt. How do these tackles do? Because if these tackles are what they're supposed to be, if these tackles, both Fashanu and Membu, are as advertised, that's going to make up a lot for the loss of AVT. Because if you're not getting around the outside and they're just brick walls, that's going to help Justin Fields a lot. And in fairness, in preseason, in the game that Justin Fields did play, a lot of nice, clean pockets where Justin Fields had a lot of time to operate and decide what he wanted to do when they chose to throw the football. So if they keep those pockets clean, if they get Justin Fields in advantageous situations, if they drop, to me, Jamie, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I would almost get those QB runs into the game plan early to get Justin Fields' confidence up, because he feels like a quarterback to me that at this stage of his career, I got to have him playing with confidence, in flow, in rhythm. And I think that's going to make the passing game overall better. So if I can get some, even if they're 5-yard runs, right, 3 or 4-yard runs to just keep the offense on schedule, and he's involved and he's making plays and teammates are amping him up and there's big blocks, that I think might help him in the passing game to be the best version of himself there. So I would expect some early design QB runs, those first, 15, 20 plays that they script as part of a game. I would expect a couple of them to be designed QB runs where they try to get his confidence going early.
There better be. I mean, I think if you want him and you want this offense to operate at its optimal capacity in the way that we believe they're trying to win, you need it. So tell me, what's your score? What's your score prediction?
So I don't think the Jets win this game. I think the loss of AVT is going to hurt their ability to fully get into gear with this. But I think it's close. I have Steelers 17, Jets 13.
Okay, we're almost on the same page. I have Steelers 17, Jets 16.
Yeah.
I think this is a really close game. This is probably not the most pleasing game on the eyes.
Oh no! This game's a slog. Over under 4.5 times that Scott Hansen goes to it on Red Zone. I will have the full feed on, so I'll be watching.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be watching it, but but it is kind of fun to see how much like the national audience will see it. I'll say there'll be more Red Zone commercials than there will be appearances of that game.
So 4 Red Zone commercials.
Yeah.
So you think there's going to be less than 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they have 3 touchdowns being scored in that game.
But there's also, what is it? There are 8 games in the early window, so there's going to be a lot about. Octobox is going to be.
It's a game only a mother could love. It's. But hey, look, you know what? This is going to say, like, I've kind of given up on the Steelers ever doing anything for a while, because they are stuck in this ultimate purgatory of just being blissfully mediocre. Mm-hmm. And the Jets at least seem like they've got a little hope around them. And it's the Jets, so and somehow it's gonna crash and burn in dramatic fashion. But for now it hasn't yet, so we can pretend like it's not gonna end like it always ends. There's a little optimism about what this team, not necessarily this year. I mean, we went through our grades, but like what this team can kind of build themselves into. And I think this will be a good first test for them.
This is the most excited I've been for a Jets season in a really long time, and that includes the 2 Rodgers years, and I'll tell you why. Because I have the perfect amount
You're
of what
more
I
excited
think
than the first Rodgers year.
I am 100% more excited. You know where I stood on Rodgers.
I know, but you're in the minority on that, because I believe most Jets fans were ready to run through a wall, and then Rodgers snapped his Achilles.
I have the receipts. You have been there. You saw the rants that I had on this. You know that I was not a fan of that decision, and I knew it wasn't going to work. But I think I have the perfect amount, at least this year, of optimism about where the team is going and what I think they can be, with the perfect amount of I don't have any expectations, so I can't get hurt here. Like, I'm excited to watch this team play, because if they play a close game and they lose 17-13 like I have, like, yes, I'm going to be disappointed that my football team lost a game that they could have won, but it's also like, it's what I predicted. It's how I think most of these games are going to go. Some of them are going to go their way. Some of them aren't. And that's how this is going to break down. So I'm just excited for this year, because I don't have any expectations, and wherever it takes me, I think I'm going to be okay with it. Final word before we get out of here.
That's a healthy attitude to take. I guess I'll start off here with the final word. And I've kind of gone back and forth in my mind about how I kind of wanted to attack this and like what I really want. Okay.
You going after Brian Walsh, umpire in Houston from over the weekend, or from this past week?
I thought about it, and by the way, he was equally as terrible on Thursday.
Oh, it was brutal.
It was bad. Also, did you see the bat thing that happened in that game?
Hashtag Ryan McMahon caught the ball. No, I did not see the bat thing.
Okay, so I believe it was Taylor Trammell, former Yankee great. Briefly.
Oh, the Yankees wanted to check his bat. I saw this. And
they took his bat away, and it wasn't authenticated. So they gave it to the authenticator, but like they didn't change the hit, and they didn't really announce it was just a very, very, very weird scenario. But no, what I wanted to talk about was just kind of being excited for the start of football season for both of these teams that we talk about a lot in the Jets and the Giants. And, they're both in kind of different spots in the window. The Jets did the clearinghouse this offseason. The Giants tended to be known to stick with guys for better or for worse longer. Longer than most NFL teams, by the way. Not quite, Pittsburgh, Baltimore level, but pretty long. But there is a real sense of optimism. And I'm excited to see what these two teams can build. Now, the Giants believe they have their young QB of the future. The Jets are still looking for theirs, and they know theirs is not on the roster right now, and that theirs is floating somewhere in the ether of college football. But there is a level of excitement. I think both of these teams are going to be competitive. I think they're going to matter week in and week out. And I think they're going to have each fan base really excited to see what the future holds for these teams. And for the Giants, I think it's more exciting than just Jackson Dart. Obviously, Dart's got everybody excited. Whenever you have a new shiny first-round quarterback that looks good, has some hype around him, you're excited to see him. And I totally get that. But there's excitement. You have two really good young running backs that I think you like. You start to look at the offensive line. There are pieces that you like that they have. I think they got a young star in the making in Marcus Bow. He's not going to start the season on the line, but he will find his way into that role at some point, whether it's this year, next year, or the year after. You have a defensive front that has added potentially one of the most dynamic defensive players in the NFL already as a rookie in Abdul Carter, and you add into another guys that are already more established like Brian Burns, and arguably the best defensive player in football in Dexter Lawrence. So you have a lot of things to be excited about for this team with that carrot dangling in the future. For the Jets, we talked about how the optimism is by the structure of what this team is setting up. This is a team that felt lawless at times. It's a team that felt like they had no control. And they have what we think now, things can always change, but right now we think the right person in charge to at least right that ship. And now they've got the idea is going to be, we have those pieces. We have signed our young stars that we drafted, we brought in, succeeded, and now we have signed them long term. They are starting the process of building a franchise to the point where they will be ready to welcome in a franchise quarterback at some point. So as you enter into the season, you're now less than 48 hours from both these teams kicking off. Enjoy the feeling that you have right now, because they're probably not making the playoffs. They're probably not having winning records, but this could be the foundation for each team to start a very bright future. And there are a lot of teams around the NFL right now that don't have that. The Browns don't feel like that right now. The Saints don't feel like that right now. The Colts don't feel like that right now. And even teams that we just talked about, Pittsburgh doesn't really feel like that right now. They might make a wild card spot, but nobody feels good about that team's chances to actually win a Super Bowl anytime soon. So enjoy that there is some optimism around the team and that these can be the seeds that grow into a fruitful future for both of these franchises in New York.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I'm going to allow that to be the final word for the entire show tonight. There's no reason to have that be me to try to follow that up, because football's back. We got another game tonight. Enjoy the game from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Enjoy all the college action over the weekend. We are back Sunday or you'll hear it Monday. We'll record it Sunday after all the games are done. You'll hear our thoughts on Giants, Commanders, and Jets, Steelers from week 1. Keep an eye out on the socials for the model bets and for the other stuff that we'll have over the weekend. If you are new here, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. You want to watch the show, the NY Sports Index YouTube channel. You can also watch the podcast in the Spotify app. We are back. The next time you hear from us, actual football to break down. The Jets and Giants could both be 1-0. They could both be 0-1. One could be 1-0. The other could be 0-1. There could be a tie. Who knows? Actual football is back. We will be breaking it down. Until then, have a good one.